Hello Neons. I wanted to discuss the upcoming changes at California Adventure to the Paradise Pier area. Well, really the area that will soon be formally known as Paradise Pier. It's going to be rethemed into Pixar Pier. The news was first announced by Bob Chapek at the D23 Expo, and we've been getting more news every few months or so. For those who don't know, Mr. Chapek is chairman of the Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, so he's the same guy who had the bright idea to change the Hollywood Tower of Terror at California Adventure to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. I'll talk a bit later about how I feel about Pixar Pier and how it will fit in with California Adventure. For those of you who know me or follow the channel, know I'm not a fan of having the Guardians ride in DCA. The ride itself is well done and quite enjoyable, but it feels out of place there. After I tell you what Pixar Pier is, I'll give my thoughts on it and if it falls in the same category as Guardians. Now let me be clear that Pixar Pier is not a simple overlay of Paradise Pier. The Disney Parks blog describes it as a permanent addition to the park, so what it becomes is what it will stay as. The area will be divided into what the blog calls neighborhoods. The most prominent, it seems, will be based on the Incredibles. California Screamin is being transformed into the Incredicoaster. I'll say this right now that the name itself is dumb and ranks up there with Crazanity at Magic Mountain. The trains, station, music, and theming will all be changed. I believe the station will be modeled after the Incredibles house in the next movie and will feature what the blog describes as a mid-century modern style loading area, new character moments, and a new look for the ride vehicles. What that all entails, we don't have the full details for yet, but there's speculation about projections in the tunnels on the ride, and having characters around the slower area so you can see them. Maybe not animatronics, but we'll have to wait and see. Toy Story is also getting its own area, which is obviously based around the Midway Mania attraction, but the theming will expand out from that. Inside Out is the third Pixar film getting a neighborhood, but its ride is said to be scheduled to open at a later date. The final neighborhood is the one by Mickey's Fun Wheel and the Boardwalk games. The gondolas on the Ferris wheel will change to Pixar characters, and the games will be rethemed to Pixar properties as well. In addition, Ariel's Grotto Restaurant, which also hosts character dining, and the Cove Bar will receive some sort of makeover as well. Thankfully, the area with the other rides, restaurants like Paradise Gardens, where Viva Navidad and other street entertainment perform, is currently not scheduled to change. It will simply be called Paradise Park. All of the aforementioned changes will be happening once the rides, shops, and attractions close January 8th. The timetable for the whole project is still a little bit vague, with a summer 2018 window for a majority of it. And, as I said before, the Inside Out ride is just slated for the future at some point. What we do know for now is that Pixar Fest will start on April 13th, so what that entails is that a lot of the parades will be back. They're also going to have fireworks and other entertainment. Now Paint the Night is going to be coming back, but it's going to be at DCA this time, similar to how when the Main Street Electrical Parade came back, it was stationed over at DCA. Now Paint the Night is going to be getting at least one more new float, but we'll have to see when that actually comes. It's just slated for later in the year. A lot of this stuff with this project seems to be kind of nebulous. The Pixar Play Parade will also be back, but this time at Disneyland. Seems kind of weird to have all the Pixar stuff kind of really being focused in at DCA, but then have the Pixar Play Parade over at Disneyland. I know that Paint the Night has a lot of Pixar floats and stuff too, but it's not the same. It just seems like an odd choice. And there are also going to be new parade elements inside the Pixar Play Parade, with new characters from Up and Inside Out, and who knows, maybe some other stuff. As far as the fireworks go, it's going to be called Together Forever, a Pixar Nighttime Spectacular. And that'll have the projections on Main Street and stuff. Another thing that will be happening during Pixar Fest is the Pixar Shorts Film Festival. That's going to be at the Sunset Showcase Theater in Hollywoodland. It's going to show a lot of the shorts like For the Birds and Lava. The Paradise Gardens area, well, I guess it's not really called Paradise Gardens area anymore, but it's going to have some music and character greeting and all that good stuff. So, how do I feel about all this? Well, it's not the right direction for the park, but it could be worse. Mr. Chapek has always been about pushing the intellectual properties Disney owns, so this change, and maybe more in the future to both parks, seems inevitable. Whether this goes too far depends on how much like the old Paradise Pier that Pixar Pier still feels like. The reason Toy Story Midway Mania worked so well is that it used the IP to enhance the ride, not to overpower it. It made sense in the context of a boardwalk amusement park. My concern is whether these neighborhoods will simply be little Pixar lands, or at least try to fit in with what was there before. Some of it seems like it will be fine, like reskins of the games and the Fun Wheel, but others may be more questionable, like the Incredicoaster and Inside Out. All we really have to go on right now is a concept art, so we will have to wait and see. Some may argue that this line of thinking, keeping California in California Adventure, is a silly argument, and perhaps with the way things are going, it soon will be. But for me, it does not make sense given all the money the park just invested to create a more authentic California experience. Now, starting in 2007 and going basically to 2012, the park spent about $1.1 billion adding many well-received attractions and upgrades, which just felt right within the park. This included the Buena Vista Street remodel, with the Carthay Circle focal point, the wonderful World of Color show in Paradise Bay, the Little Mermaid ride, the always crowded Cars Land, and the previous upgrades to Paradise Pier, including Midway Mania. Guardians of the Galaxy certainly doesn't fit, and if this Pixar Pier doesn't go as many hope, then Marvel Land will make no effort to blend in with the park. I'm sure all these changes will be fun to ride and will make people happy. But change just for change's sake is not the answer. Yes, Mr. Walt Disney said that Disneyland will never be finished, but he was also more nuanced in his approach to new attractions. For example, sightlines were very important, and keeping the land feeling insular and authentic was very important. When you're in the park, at Disneyland that is, take a look carefully at the buildings which straddle lands. The Tiki Room and Jolly Holiday Bakery are good examples. Basically anything along the Frontierland and Adventureland border would also be good to look at. They're decorated differently on different sides, even though it's technically the same building. And this is so it doesn't break immersion. If you enter from one side, it looks like it's supposed to be on Main Street, and if you enter the Tiki Room, it looks like you're in Adventureland. You may say, oh well look, the Matterhorn you can see from many places in the park, but it just looks like a mountain. There's nothing really genre or land breaking about that. It's just a mountain. However, something like the Guardians Tower, which can be seen from a lot of DCA and even Disneyland, just seems so out of place. Even though the inner workings of the ride are immersive and fun, it just breaks that immersion through the rest of the park. But we shall see how Pixar Pier fits into the rest of this. Goodbye, Neons.